recent string of misfortunes, his faction really was in a rough position, a fact which cast his competency and wisdom into grave doubt. Ever since it was introduced, the game that bends reality had captivated the minds of the ruling aristocracy. It offered truly limitless possibilities and learning opportunities. Furthermore, if one's magical power grew in the game, it increased in the real world as well. The game could also cure any disease and, with a few exceptions, grant absolute immortality. However, for now, the number of people that could enter and play the game was limited. In fact, there were so many more hopefuls than available openings that some had been contested by duels to the death. So it came as no surprise that all three co-rulers of humanity wanted to watch over and guide their society's progress in the game, and were even participating directly, each at the head of their own faction. By now, the virtual world had provided a good deal of astonishing discoveries and advanced science by centuries, so the ruling council made it a top priority. Just one word from a faction leader, and high-value real-world resources would be requisitioned to exchange for alien technology in the game. Whole institutes of analysts and diviners were working non-stop to determine the most effective strategies both for growth and dispatching neighboring factions. If a faction leader needed someone of a particular profession, they could recruit straight from the top of that field, regardless of the draftees' feelings on the matter. The need to dominate in the game had superseded all real-world problems. There was a famine in the Third Directory, for example, and an anti-mage uprising in the Sixth. Recently, the self-styled monarch of the Second Directory had even been allowed to join the ruling council. Sure, he was a successful and popular military commander, but he was the first person without magical abilities to sit on the council in 800 years. Thumor Anhu Lefin was scheduled to speak third. The other two co-rulers had already finished their speeches, intelligently arguing their right to lead not only in the real world, but also in the game that bends reality. And now, the ruling council would hear from Leng Thumor Anhu Lefin. He knew they'd have lots of questions, so stepping up to the podium felt like going to the gallows. Just before he reached the rostrum, Thumor Anhu Lefin slightly turned his head and glanced at the other two honorable co-rulers. Henri Huvi Lachine was wearing a bright red ribbon on his toga, meaning he was going to chair this meeting. A good sign. Unlike co-ruler Onuri Untalavares, he did not harbor a personal disdain for Thumor Anhu and would not try to make him look bad with trick questions and acrid remarks. Henri Huvi Lachine was almost a friend, at least to the degree true camaraderie was possible between members of the upper aristocracy. And sure, Henri Huvi Lachine would probably want a political favor for his loyalty. Perhaps he would ask for his son to be put on the council, or for his newest wife to be handed a leadership position at the thermonuclear power plant when it was up and running. None of that was impossible, though. Just then, a huge screen lit up behind him, and the council went silent, hanging on his every word. Thumor Anhu Lefin confidently spouted off numbers and performance metrics, not even looking at the presentation behind him, demonstrating an excellent memory and sharp mind. His colony was growing vigorously. He had 5 hexagons, all with high development, and a further 2 neighboring ones were being prepared for colonization. The capital hexagon had reached development level 4. His faction now had over 3,700 players and a burgeoning manufacturing sector, and they were fully self-sufficient in everything from food to high-tech weaponry. What was more, trade had been established with the Gecko overlords, and a high-speed road to the Gecko spaceport was under construction. His group did find itself in a somewhat rough neighborhood, though. The Leng figured this would be the linchpin of his speech, so he spent the lion's share of his time on it. As an experienced politician, he knew not to try and sweep obvious problems under the rug. Much better to get out ahead of the issue, so the favorable